I am looking at this vase object that was done in subdivisions, and I was looking at a few issues here that I would like to point out and correct and show you some tricks that we can do to improve this object here. So again, this was done in subdivisions, and what is going on here is that this object was modeled with two sides, so it has some thickness. It has a face going along the outside here and a face going along the inside, which gives it some thickness. So if we were to put a glass texture on this, we would see it, you know, about 1/8 of an inch or so of some thickness and dimension. But as you can see, what's going on here, and this is where the problem starts to happen and can cause some issues later, is that the back side of the vase, the inside of the vase, is intersecting and coming through to the front side, which is pretty obvious right about here. You can see this starting to come through here. This is the front side. This is like the ripple or the, you know, the texture on the vase, whatever you want to call it. And this is actually the inside of the vase coming out on the outside, and you can see it. I'm inside the vase here, and you can see the opposite happening, and this is going to cause some problems when you start doing texturing, shading. If we were to put a glass texture on this, you're going to see some issues. So what I'm going to show you a little trick here is that I have just a polyplane, and I'm going to go to face mode here so I can select the faces. So I'm just going to select one face. And instead of, you know, selecting all these faces, I want to select some faces here one at a time, like that. And, you know, that can take some time. Here's a little shortcut. If I were to select a face here and press Shift period key or Shift comma key, which is actually the greater than or the less than sign, and I would press, you can see that it's starting to, it is selecting the connected faces that I had selected originally. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to put Shift and the greater than sign, and you can see that it's expanding out from that. So I expand it all the way out, and then I'm going to hit the less than sign, and it's going to come to the center there. And now I can I can select a controlled portion of this this plane or this geometry fairly easily, and I can do stuff with it. I can manipulate it and do stuff like that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the vase here, and I'm going to select it. I'm going to right mouse click on it and go to the polygon mode here, which is how you can edit and, you know, do all of those, use all of those polygon function tools on subdivisions. I'm going to press the 1 key here, so it's going to be non-smooth. It's still going to look smoothed. And I'm going to go in here into the inside here, and I'm going to select a face. Oh, I first want to go to right mouse over that, select face mode, and I'm going to select a face in here. I'm going to select it in here. You can see there it is. I selected that right there. You could probably select it from the outside too, but I found it's just better from the inside. It selected the face that I want, and I'm going to expand it out. And I'm going to go out. Let's just come out a little bit like that, to about there. And then I'm going to with either the R, and I'm going to scale it in. I'm going to scale it in. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to start with the center and scale it in, and also maybe move it up a little bit. You can see it's coming through here, so I'm going to just move that up. Oh, I want to move it actually down, and let's just scale it a little bit more. And so what I'm doing is I've selected the inside of that vase, and I'm just scaling, making it smaller and squeezing it inside. And what that is doing is that it's now wherever that intersection is that I'm doing, that I've done, is now being squeezed inside of the vase, and now I don't have that intersection anymore. So I'm going to go back to polygon mode and just take a look. Now we've lost some definition here. Maybe that wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, so I'm going to undo that and I'm going to try it again, because this is definitely something that we're going to want to do. Let's go to object mode again. Why is that doing that? Let's go to, oh, we want to go back to there. Let's go Z, undo, 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 undo. I'm going to undo. If I Z is your friend. It's undoing a whole bunch. There, we're back to where we were before. So let's try this again. So I'm going to go to polygon mode, and I'm going to go in here, right click, let's go to face. I'm going to select a face. I'm going to select about here. I think that'll be good. Let's just see if that's going to work. And I'm going to shift greater than key, and let's just see if this is going to do what we, yeah, I think this is doing what we want it to do. I'm scaling it down a little bit, and maybe scale it up this way. Yep, I'm scaling it up in the Z or the Y, and I'm just making sure that I don't have any intersection in my geometry here. Let's do a little bit more just to make sure. And scale it up so it doesn't show through at the bottom there. And I think Bob is your uncle on this one. So let's just go back to polygon mode and take a look, and yes, now I have eliminated all of that intersection that was going on. I don't see any more intersection from the inside of the vase material going through to the outside. And now what we can do, now that I'm pretty sure that the vase geometry is how I like it, I'm going to show you here is that when it's in sub D mode, it's going to show you the polygon count here, and it's not all square. You don't have all quads. It's going to subdivide here in some of these areas, and you know, I mean, that's not bad. That's not gonna, it's not necessarily wrong. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as, and I'm going to save it up as vase 2, just in case I make a mistake here. Make sure that it is all saved out, and now the vase selected, I'm going to go to modify, convert, and I'm going to go convert subdivisions to polygons. Let's go into the option box, and I'm going to put this up to poly count. Let's see, do we want that? And let's go to poly count and number of maximum polygons. Let's just make it 500. Let's make it 600. I think if we do even numbers, it's a little better. And let's apply that. And let's just take a look and see what we've got here. Now this is a polygon model, and it looks like it has subdivided it. It has made it all quads. Let's take a look, and it's pretty good. So now this is a polygon model. Oops. And we can move it around like that, play around with that, and now we can put a texture on it. I could probably play around with that convert and get something that's a little bit more cleaner. I mean, this is pretty clean. It starts to get a little funky around here, which is not necessarily bad, since this is not going to deform. We're not going to actually animate this like it would a character, so this is just fine. So now that I have this this converted to polygons, I'm going to right click over it, and the intention is to make this a glass texture, and a glass shader texture is probably going to be it's going to have some complications to it. So I'm not going to go into a real glass shader. I'm just going to do kind of a fake, easy glass shader. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to right click over the model and go down to Assign New Material. And it's going to bring up the menu here. This is much like the Hypershade, and I'm going to assign a Fong material. You could probably do a blend as well, but I'm going to do the Fong, and the Fong is going to give it kind of a shiny texture with a highlight. It gives you a smooth, reflective kind of surface here. And now, just very easily, I'm just going to give it just a very simple glass texture. I'm going to go to the color. I'm going to bring it down to white. Actually, I'm going to make it a little blue. Just a little on the blue side. Come on here. You can make, there we go. Just to kind of give it a little bit of color. You can do whatever you want. And then I'm going to go to the, right under this, the transparency, and I'm going to give it some transparency. And I'm just going to do the slider, I don't know, about 2/3 of the way to the right. There isn't really a value here for transparency. You just kind of eyeball it a little bit. And then I'm going to just do a little test render here just to take a look and see what we got. And we've got a very simple glass texture here. Let's do another. Let's get a little closer in on here so we can see what we're doing. Let's do the transparency a little bit more and do a test render. And you can see it's got a transparency and it's showing through. We can see that thickness. Now this is not really a real glass texture, glass shader. This is just kind of showing you just kind of a ballpark glass shader. If you want to do something a little more realistic, there are some tutorials in the textbook, or you can go online and look in some lighting and texturing tutorials for that, or you can wait until the lighting and texturing class and try to do it on your own or whatever. But this is going to give you sort of a basic ballpark groundwork for doing a glass shaded vase like this.